Hello and welcome to the Freya Savage podcast with your host, Freya Savage. This is the podcast where we dive into the attitude, the mindset, and the strategy required to live a fully self-actualized life. When I say self-actualized, I'm referring to our own potential of ideal freedom, limitless wealth, and perfect creative expression. After working as an investment analyst and financial advisor for over 10 years in a very corporate environment, I quit that life and I created my own money and business school. Very quickly, I was making over 5-figure months, working as much as I wanted, generally looked around 3 hours a day. And just by being me, by creating transformational content, just by being me. So my mission is to live a fully lived life, which I feel like I'm already doing. Of course, there is always room to go deeper and go higher. And part of that vehicle for me is to empower other women to rise up to their potential through financial education, business mentoring, and spiritual guidance. So if you enjoy this episode, go ahead and take a screenshot and share it with anyone you think might benefit. And if you share it on social media, go ahead and tag me. Okay, let's dive in. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by AussieAscension.com. Aussie Ascension delivers fine, exotic health food products from around the world right to your door. They are distributors for lead superfood, which I personally love. They make vegan coconut milk creamers. They have all different flavors. My favorite is the unsweetened one, which I like to have in the morning with raw cacao and a blend of adaptogen mushrooms, and I mix it up together with some almond milk or some coconut milk, and it is really, really fine. I quit coffee a few years ago now and don't even notice it when I have this. They are also suppliers of Energy Bits. Energy Bits are the highest quality chlorella and spirulina in the world, I would say. I'm biased. I love this stuff. And they're in tablet form. And then they also stock Primal Herbs, which is my favorite of adaptogen mixes. The one that I like is the memory and cognitive support that's called Neuro Shroom. You can go ahead and order directly from Aussie Ascension by going to AussieAscension.com. That's AussieAscension.com. Right now, I have my calendar open for free mini one-on-one strategy sessions. The reason why I have done this, which I have not done for at least a year, is because I'm just enjoying the conversations that I'm having so much with my audience right now. I'm having so many inspirational conversations with women. So if there's anything that you want to work on together, be that business, wealth, love, or health, and self-actualizing those areas, you're welcome to book in a session with me. It's totally free. There is no obligation at all. If it feels like a fit, I will ask permission if you want to talk about working together, but that is not the goal of the call at all. The goal is to fully support you in whatever areas of life you feel like you could use with some expanding right now. So if you'd like to go ahead and book in a call with me, we will put the link in the show notes below. This offer is not always available. I don't know when I'm going to close off this offer again, but it's open for at least the next week. So go ahead and take that opportunity if that feels right for you. Hello. What I've come on here to talk about today is what money actually is. And the reason why I want to cover this topic is because, well, firstly, we all use money. We use it every day. We've been using it from the beginning of our lives, essentially. And not many of us, including me, actually know what money is in terms of what is backing money. Where does money come from? How did it begin? What is the what is the actual fundamental essence of money. And the reason why this is so important right now, firstly, it's important because I think it's important to know actually what money is, since we all are using it. Secondly, is because right now there is kind of an inflection point that's happening in our society. And with globalization, with the removals of barriers in terms of, we're now at this stage where there's technological advances that are allowing us to have these incredible technologies available that are essentially going to change the way we spend money, the way we think about money, the way that we make agreements, because that's essentially what money is. It's an agreement to exchange something for something else, a service or a product. And things will change, but not the way that you might expect. So there is a lot around moving towards cryptocurrencies, and I want to touch on that as well and what my thoughts on that are. So to give you a little bit of background, if you don't know much about me, I worked in finance for 12 years. I studied economics and finance. I have a CFP. I was a senior financial advisor and an investment analyst, and now I teach people how to manage their money, how to invest. And I do this because I've always been fascinated with money. From the very beginning, money to me felt like if I had money, then I had freedom. Because not having enough money always felt like that's what stopped me from having the experiences that I wanted to have as a child. So this is why I studied finance, so I could understand money. And honestly, it's an ongoing relationship. It's something that is forever shifting and changing. It moves with our environment, with our economy, with the human consciousness. And I will start from the start of money. So money initially was, you might have heard of the gold standard before. So money was backed by gold, literally by gold. So the value of money was based on the value of gold. It was 1 ounce of gold equals X amount of money. And that was how confidence was instilled in money, because you could literally go and exchange money for gold at the bank. And vice versa. If you had gold, you could exchange it for a certain amount of money at the bank. And the bank kept that amount of gold there for the amount of money that it gave you. So for example, if you had $10, the bank would keep that amount of gold, that $10 worth of gold, there in its safe. But then what happened in 1933 was that Franklin Roosevelt was in power, and he decided this no longer is the case. We will no longer have the gold standard. So there will no longer need to be gold reserves, and gold will no longer be the price of money. Because what was happening was, when there were gold rushes, that means there was more gold available, the price of gold decreases, because when supply increases, then demand decreases, and so essentially the price decreases. So money was moving around a lot. The actual price of money, as gold, the price of gold moved around a lot depending on when there were gold rushes and when there was a limited supply of gold. So in 1933, Roosevelt said, nope, we're not doing this anymore. And instead, money was no longer based on the price of gold. So then what is money actually priced on? Because now there is nothing backing it. There is no underlying asset backing money. Is it just made up? Is it just imaginary? Kind of. Money is kind of something that is made up. There is nothing physically backing money. The thing that is backing money is the confidence in the government. That's essentially it. The confidence in us that this is what we're going to continue to use. We're going to continue to use money, and this is what, and our confidence is the number one thing, essentially keeping money intact, keeping us using money as an exchange. So I want to touch on inflation for a minute, but I'm not going to go too much into this. Maybe I'll do this on another day. But it's really interesting because we just saw the US government literally print money. A lot of other countries do this as well. All countries do it. It's part of their monetary policy. And monetary policy, there's monetary policy and fiscal policy that governments use in order to keep the economy essentially afloat. They use monetary and fiscal policy as like it's kind of a seesaw. You know, they're using this to kind of keep it balanced. Like when it's too hot, they'll use one lever. When it's too cold, they'll use another lever. And the governments use these in order to keep things moving in the economy. So recently, the US government printed a ton of money. And you would think, Economics 101 tells us when we print money, there is more supply in the system. When there is more money supply in the system, just like there was gold, then what happens? Supply increases, so normally the price decreases because it's no longer worth so much because there's more of it, kind of like, when we spoke about gold. So then what happens is what we call inflation. The price of everything then actually rises because the value of money decreases because there's more money in the economy. So that is Economics 101. When you print money, inflation goes up. That means that the value of money actually decreases. So it used to cost you $2 to buy a liter of milk, and now it's costing you $3. But what happened is that inflation hasn't gone up. It's the same in most developed countries. When they print money, inflation hasn't been going up. Why? And the reason is because of us, because of our confidence and our understanding and our belief of what prices are going to be. Because we don't think that prices are going to go up by a lot. So we're not out purchasing a ton more stuff. So prices are not increasing. When you compare this to a country like Venezuela, where inflation is through the roof, I think it's like 3,000% or something, they literally cannot, 1 month salary with 1 month salary in Venezuela, you can now afford one toothbrush. Whereas before you could live off this quite well. And this is because of inflation. And because they've been printing money. So how come in Venezuela this has been happening but not in the US? Why doesn't inflation increase in the US? And again, it's because of this confidence. The confidence of the people there. In Venezuela, they know that prices are going to go up and they might not be able to afford the toothbrush next month anymore because they know prices are going to keep climbing. So people are buying a lot of stuff. The prices go up. So money, I wanted to explain that to you so you could see kind of how fickle it is and how much it is dependent on our own idea of the future and our own idea of the economy. The confidence of the consumer is the number one. The number one reason for fluctuations in GDP, in spending, in share prices, in the share market. It's about us, about our confidence. So money itself is based on what we believe. we, the consumer, we, the people. So what does that mean then for when we're looking at cryptocurrency? Because if we are moving, from a system, the fiat system, is it possible for us? Oh, my reception jumped out. What if we move to one currency? How would that work? Would that be possible? And especially since money anyway is based on nothing's behind it. We don't use the gold standard anymore. Nothing is behind cryptocurrency. I know there are some currencies that actually do use gold now. So wouldn't we be able to just shift over? Because the one thing that I speak about crypto is that there is no underlying tangible value in it, right? But there is also no underlying tangible value in money itself, other than the confidence in the government, other than the confidence that money is what we use and money is what we're going to continue to use. So when we move to, if we were going to move to a cryptocurrency, it essentially, as I explained before, the government is the one who keeps the economy, keeps us on this kind of this lever pulling, keeps things running. It's steering the ship. And if we were going to move to one currency, and it was a cryptocurrency, if we were going to move to one currency and something like Bitcoin, the government would no longer have the ability to steer. It can no longer manage monetary policy. It can't print money. It doesn't manage interest rates anymore. It would essentially lose all of its ability to pull any of those levers. What would happen? Would it be a better system? Would everything become easier? Then I don't need to exchange different currencies. I can go to another country when we can fly again and spend the same money. Would everything cost the same? Would a bottle of milk here in Bali cost the same amount than in the US? Would it create more equality? Would things be fairer? Would there be less barriers to entry for people to exchange services and products? Would there be more freedom? That would be great. But no, because every economy is so unique and so different. Each economy has a different unique set. They're exporting and importing different things. They have different cultures, which essentially means that they have different focuses on how they spend money, it won't be money anymore, but what they are building, what they're investing in, how they're investing, how they support their people. Each country has something different. It would not work. We would not be able to have one currency and obliviate all the other currencies. The economies would collapse, and there are some countries that would suffer massively from this, and there would be no way to support it, to lift it up, because the government no longer has these levers. So it will not occur that there will ever be just one currency. Not in our lifetime. But what might happen is the governments will actually create their own cryptocurrency. We're already seeing this happening in some countries. So I do believe that there is, cryptocurrency will be the future. I don't believe it's going to be one currency. I don't believe Bitcoin or any of these other coins are going to be the number one currency for the way in which we exchange. It just won't happen. The governments will not allow it because they need access to these levers. Do I think that it's going to grow? a particular cryptocurrency? I don't know, probably. Do I think it's a currency? No. The reason why I don't think these cryptocurrencies at the moment are currencies is because they're essentially an investment, in the sense that they're more of an investment than they are a currency. Because a currency in developed countries, in all countries, the definition of a currency is something that you can easily exchange services or products for. And a currency is generally fairly stable. It doesn't move up and down constantly. And something like Bitcoin doesn't do this, right? It's really volatile. It moves more like an investment, more like the stock exchange would move. It moves more like this than an actual currency. So no, it's not a currency. And also right now, yes, you can use it to exchange for goods and services, but there are fees for this. It's not so available, and it's not so easy to do this. So it's not a currency. Is it an investment? Kind of. It's an investment because the people who are investing in cryptocurrency are essentially investing in the future of it. It has no underlying value in the sense of a company. For example, when you invest in the share market, it has that company actually sells a service or a product. They have a cash flow statement, they have assets, they are selling something that people are buying. They have money coming into it. When you look at a cryptocurrency, there is actually nothing behind it. It's not selling something or providing a service in such that people are paying for that service. Yes, it's a service in the sense that you might be using it to exchange, you might be using it as a currency, but not really. So it's not really an investment either. It's more of this is why I say it is a gamble, because there is no underlying tangible asset behind it. And I know that there is also no tangible underlying asset for money either. But money will be here. Money will stick around, because the governments will ensure money stays here. Or if it's not money, then their own cryptocurrency. But it will be their own. It's not going to be Bitcoin, for example, that the governments are going to use and that they're going to implement for that country. It's just not going to happen. So I hope that gave you a bit of a snapshot of what money is and what a currency is and what is going on right now in terms of the economy, in terms of the way forward, and that in terms of investments as well, to have this idea about what is the difference between a currency and what is the difference between an investment. Okay, great to be here. If you want to learn more on investing, I have a program called Invest Like a Queen. It's amazing. It teaches you how to invest in the share market, how to manage your own investment portfolio, and I also talk about different asset classes as well. And I also have a money management program which goes deep into literally everything money, including investments. We also go into the legal stuff. We go into cash flow, we even go into money mindset, we go into estate planning, we go into risk management, like literally everything you ever need to know about money that financial advisors would do for you, and even beyond what financial would do for you, I do in this program. It's called School of Money. Both of these are up on my website, and I also do financial one-on-one strategy planning if you want someone else to do it all for you. Send me a message or write a comment if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you, and see you all later. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If it resonated with you, go ahead and take a screenshot and share it with someone else who you think it might be of benefit for. If you share it on social media, I would absolutely love if you could tag me. My handle is Freya_Savage_. If you want to see what I have going on, you can subscribe to my mailing list. Go ahead and head to my website, freyasavage.com. I'm also very active on Facebook on my business page, which is also Freya Savage. I hope to see you around. Feel free to reach out to me, and I look forward to a long and prosperous relationship together.